So you guys know, obviously, that I just need to get prayer. If you have a question, Miles, I know you were raising your hand. I don't know if you answered that, or you wanted to ask. What was your question?
I think it was one of the verses you put up there.
It was Genesis 9:4.
Yeah.
when you.
So in the ESV it says, "But you shall not eat the flesh with its life, that is its blood." This is because when I first read that, it sounds like saying don't eat a raw animal.
Yeah.
Is that what that's saying?
I think what it's exactly saying is like, so what was going on, and we went through more if we had more time or whatever, but what was taking place in Enoch is they were literally turning on each other. They were eating humans. They were consuming everything.
Okay.
And that even that one verse was saying that just prior that they turned on the fish, the animals, and the birds, and all this sort of stuff. But they weren't, like our processing thing is, okay, so, they go in and we remove the skin and we drain the blood, and then after it's drained for a while, then we begin to butcher it. No, they were just grabbing and eating. Oh. These giants of that time were like incredibly huge.
Yeah.
According to Enoch, and again,
the eels, right?
Yes, which is like which is a same as what do they call it? A cubit, 18 inches about. But if you were to go by what Enoch says, and again, I'm not saying that we can put our stock in this,
sure,
but they would have been like 3/4 of a mile in height.
Yeah, they were massive.
Yes. Now, the David and Goliath, that giant wasn't that big.
No, not even close.
So I don't know if something's happened genetically or what there. I don't know if that's accurate, that we can actually trust what we're reading in Enoch there. What's interesting though is that you can actually see there's a whole lot of pictures of like rocks and mountains where it looks like they hit the face or something, and it's just massive, and there's a guy standing next to it, and it's bigger, the head's bigger than them, kind of a thing. Yeah.
I was gonna say, just to support that, there's looking a lot of like photos and stuff like that. That's all in there,
It is, and so, and even that you bring that up too, is we look at like a lot of the Greek lore and what do they call it? The
mythology.
Yeah, mythology. Thank you. Yes, I mean they've got giants and stuff like that. They've got the coming together of the gods and the daughters and men and stuff like that. And then Disney and Hollywood has made this seem like it's some fairy tale, like this is a really good story, and like, but and that's another thing too is cultures all around the world have giant tales. It's not just a biblical tale. Yeah.
Well, I thought in the time of the flood, the reason why the Lord brought on the flood was to get rid of the giants.
He did, yeah. The giants, the corruption. There was, and if you pay attention as you continue going through, I think it's chapter 6, and actually even in chapter 7 of Genesis, what you can see is that he saw that Noah was pure, that he was uncorrupted. The word is tamim. That so what it makes it sound like is that just about all the earth up until that point in time had been mutated in one way. They weren't the same pure that they were, and so and Enoch supports that as well. And so, in fact, Enoch takes a step further and almost makes it look like it's a gene manipulation, a crossbreeding, and not just humans and angels, but a number of other things and stuff, which is why God says the whole earth was corrupt, and then he brings this in. And we see this today. If you pay attention to what's going on today with the Neuralink, here's your Elon Musk and stuff like that. They want to be able to alter you in some state. It's kind of transhumanism is what the terminology is, where they're literally making us more and more robot. This is going to be part of the beast system. So there's the mNRA technology that was just released 6 years ago. This would have altered or changed your DNA. Now, if people have taken that and then are having regrets that they did, there is hope for them. They can repent. They can apologize. They can tell the Lord, I didn't know any better, this sort of a thing. and nothing's too big for him. You know, he can correct that. But it is a technology, and it was a gene-altering technology. So those that took that would not be pure as they were intended to be by God. And one could even argue all the vaccines going back to whenever. When I started school, it was just 6, and then by the time my kids started, it's what, 40, 50, 60?
It was like
We
72
don't-
or 80.
Yeah, we don't even know. And so what's happened in a couple generations that's caused this increase, and you're changing the makeup of the person. It may not have all been mRNA as, what do you call it?
mRNA.
mRNA. Okay, thank you. I'm not on camera, am I?
Myrna.
So anyways, so we're seeing this still, whereas in the days of Noah, this kind of stuff's going on still today. What else you guys got? You can feed into it too. You see how many
So
people
why
want
did
to.
it come back if it was destroyed?
Because the devil didn't stop.
No.
The devil's still doing what he's doing, and God's gonna come back. That's what the whole thing we're standing on right now is the Son of Man's gonna come back. We're not gonna escape the tribulations. We're gonna escape his wrath. We ought to be raptured away before his wrath. Don't hold me to that, but we will experience tribulation, and that's what the church is not prepared necessarily to suffer, to endure, or anything like that. But that's what he's going to do. He's going to come back and correct again, but this time it's going to be by fire rather than the
Second death?
Yeah, second death, so the second resurrection, I think. So you're talking about like Revelation 20 or 21 or something like that? Yeah. What you got, man?
When you said the church is not prepared, I would argue more that the church in this country is not, because I was just reading
really?
something to Sierra. They had some email. I can't remember, but it was a lot. There was recently a lot of Christians were like abducted in like African countries and beheaded. Children as young as 5 and under kidnapped and stuff like that. So I'd say the church in America is probably not prepared, but churches in China and Arab countries where they're actually facing persecution.
So they're experiencing a higher heightened level of tribulation.
Yes.
And here in America, it's going to be a deception.
Yep.
Because people aren't paying attention, they are watching. And what I've been noticing too is that there's a lot of people in Africa, like men and women of God in Africa, that are super aware of what's going on, that are rising up, that are sharing a lot of things that are going on. Like I just watched something last night about through Ezekiel. We can talk, okay? And there's an African woman on there, and she's talking about this Revelation, end time stuff. She even hits on the jab and stuff like that. But man, she really hit on the Elon Musk, and she starts that at about the 30-minute mark, and it goes for about 20 minutes or something. But and not only did she hit on that, but it brought confirmation to me and the things that I'm talking about today, because I'm like, Lord, this stuff's crazy. Nobody talks about this from your pulpit. Am I really supposed to do this? And it'd be one thing if my phone was listening to me and I just got some random stuff.
Sure.
But this is an actual channel that I watch, I follow. I love the testimonies from it. Yeah. And it was only 2 days old. So, I mean, it was very fresh. And all it did was bring confirmation to some of the things that I brought up here today. Yeah. You guys want me to just keep going?
Yeah, but I want to get to Babel sometime soon, because from what happens from Noah to Babel is an interesting mix.
It is, yeah, and you should maybe get a copy of my book, because I talk about it a little bit in there and stuff too, and maybe that'll give you some insight on that. And I believe that America is modern day Babel, and so we're almost seeing a repeat of what's taking place in those first 11 chapters of Genesis, and what's being said in Revelation is almost a repeat of things.
Yeah.
And we have to also remember too that in Revelation, when we're reading this, John John's describing things that he don't know what it is.
Right.
You know, so he's doing the best he can to describe these things. So we have to try to look at, all right, well, what resembles this in today's modern language? Because we are in that time, and some people are scared of Revelation, and they really get all off into the coding of it and stuff like that. And I'm not saying that there is or there isn't. I would be careful of any secret type stuff or whatever in that sense. But I think you'd be surprised if you've been, scared to read it. I think you'd be surprised how much of it actually does make sense. How much of it, you can understand. So the church is staying away from Revelation and stuff too, which we will do some teaching on Revelation in the weeks and days to come and stuff too. So, but not to focus so much on the end time stuff. We know we're there.
Yeah.
Yes, we know we're there. We're waiting for a trumpet. We're going to see some crazy stuff happen. Darkness is trying to close in. We're just keeping our eye out for that beast system, make sure we don't take that mark. And then that's what the mark could actually end up being, more than likely, is this technology chip, whether it's the MNRA.
Myrna.
Yeah. The technology.
That's
It could
the
be
one.
that. The Neuralink in your head.
That's the one that the Bible describes in the forehead or was it the right hand or
Yeah, it's the right hand and forehead. Yep.
and or?
I think it's or.
Okay.
And or. Yep. It's or. So that's Revelation 13 and 16 and 17 is where you find that in. Yeah. So here's the thing: is it comes with a different terminology, and
Sure.
we don't recognize it.
Yeah.
And we see, they're aliens, but they're here to help us, and they are.
They probably thought the same of the
angels. They wanted that knowledge. They
Yeah.
wanted that knowledge, and that's what our world leaders want, that knowledge. And there's that woman I was telling you about that's on Ezekiel, man. She straight up says that Elon Musk ain't even human. Now,
I've been saying that for years.
yeah, I mean, he says it himself. He
Yeah.
even says it himself, and then he references to humans as if there's something different than him too.
Sure.
The way he uses his language or whatever, and then just to think like, where did he get all this knowledge? And then he like comes out of nowhere and richest man in the world, and like
Yeah.
there's something funny there, and he's rolling out a lot of stuff that's related or can be very easily connected to this beast system. So as he makes claims like he's doing Jesus level miracles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually recently heard a guy, I can't remember his name, but he said, because by the words he used, I don't think he's a believer, because he says no one has challenged the concept or idea of Jesus, he says, signifying to me that he doesn't believe in him, because he calls him a concept, and he said he's going to challenge the concept of Jesus, and he's probably a man of renown. Like he actually is so deceived. I was telling Evan about him. If I find him, I'll send it to you.
Okay.
I see his face right now. I just can't remember his name, but he's like in his 50s, but he thinks he's going to live forever because he claims he has the best biomarkers of all humans. Because, for instance, they tested like his lungs, and he says even though he's in his 50s, biologically his lung is like an 18-year-old lung.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, you're deceived, buddy.
Well, so
You're still gonna
it
die.
was like 15 years ago or so, somewhere in there, that there was a claim in some magazine I was reading at the time or whatever that stated that the first person to live to 200 years old was alive currently. Now, who that is, we don't know, but they're just saying that's because of the advancements in technology and medicine and stuff. And what they've really been working on is trying to figure out how to upload our consciousness to the cloud so that we can be implanted into robots and things like
and
that.
essentially
And
live forever.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so what's going on there is they want eternal life. They just don't want it from Jesus.
Yes.
They want it in their own way. Yep. So they can remain in their sins and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, it's ironic you were talking about that. Miles and I used to watch a show where they would pick like specific people who were so different, and they would do that. They would keep their consciousness, and then they would put them psychopaths.
Oh.
They would put them in other people's bodies, and then would be the people with all the authority. They were making all the rules.
This was a
in there.
movie, TV show?
TV
Movie
show.
Like
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
so what's the difference between that and say a transfer of a demonic spirit?
Right.
Makes me wonder what, like, who's to say that that's not what happened to Elon Musk and why he's bringing.
Yeah.
He's just, reminds me of like a leapfrogging himself
Sure.
type of thing, just over and over and over, and until now he's bringing it to like us as humans, where if he came from, if he really is alien, like he says, he's been working on this for centuries.
Because I heard, it might have been someone on Ezekiel's channel or whatever, but they were basically saying witches, warlocks, and those, demonic type people, when they astral project, obviously I would say it's your spirit leaving your body.
Yep.
And, or your consciousness rather. Some of them were saying they transfer it to like other things. So like that body technically is lifeless, while the spirit is out of it, while they're in that astral plane is what they call it. I say it's the spirit realm. But that's what it made me think of, like you said, that leapfrog thing, because they will leave their bodies and they spy on people like us, like real people of God, and try to tear us down and all that kind of thing. It's wild. Like John Ramirez, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a high up Satanist, and he said that he used to do stuff like that and all these different things before he became a man of God. But I don't think none of this, so is hard to receive, because I've been looking into this stuff for years.
I know.
I love this stuff.
So even when I was,
deeper, and I think it's necessary.
I was learning this stuff and not knowing that it was going to apply.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was just fascinated with it.
Yes. Yeah.
But he knew there was a reason why I was taking this stuff in.
I need water.
All right.
So, yeah, that's something that that doctor woman said too, was that
Can you give me some more?
this was that she's on the Ezekiel channel. She's a doctor.
Okay.
I was just watching. She
The
said
African lady?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
She said that what Elon's doing with the Neuralink is that he's targeting particular areas of the brain, and she says if you don't know what these two areas of the brain are, she says one has to do with your emotions, and the other one has to do with your cognitive thinking. And she says so really what those two areas represent is what your soul is.
Yeah.
And so he's ultimately, that's where he's intending to implant these neural links or whatever it is, in essence, to capture your soul.
Yeah.
And so, in scriptures, here's another thing she does too that's awesome. She takes you right through Revelation chapter 13, line by line, while she's doing this, and she's explaining. She'll do a verse and she'll explain. So this is what's going on here. And she's showing it in the world. You want me to send you the link to this?
Yeah.
Okay, and like watch the whole thing if you want, but it seems like she started getting into the Elon Musk thing about 30 minutes in, but I thought the whole thing was interesting. And it's a good channel to subscribe to. It's all about testimonies. So to me, testimonies are powerful. Are some people lying? Maybe some are, but if they are, they're really good actors, and I don't think necessarily they're lying on his channel. But we know that testimonies is one means to defeating.
That's what
the
Revelation says. They overcame them.
Yeah. So. All right, good. You never know if I'm going to go off the deep end on some people, if they're going to be able to receive it or not. So makes me question why some people didn't come today too.
Well, I know where Jared is. He told me this morning.
He said he had a dream to go somewhere else or something. Yeah.
Yeah. He
And-
reached out yesterday to talk, and Patrick's cat died, so
Gonna do a Christian burial, mummify it.
he wants to bury it. I would prefer to burn it because, there's no
Yeah. Just dig deep.
And I have two big dogs. If I bury anything, my dog is going to just dig it up and
Yeah.
eat it. I don't want her to eat the carcass and stuff.
Well, we're going to keep on talking about this stuff. We'll get ourselves in preparation mode, and prayer service is going to be important. And I get it. You guys live in Kalamazoo. I get it. If you can't make it, I understand that.
statistically speaking, prayer services do not have a large turnout, but yet they're the most important thing for a region. So we're going to do our part, however that looks, and hopefully people will come out ultimately. A friend of ours, they do this over in Jackson, and they've been doing it for like 9 years, and there's some things they're finally seeing that they've been praying on for 9 years ago that are actually changing in the city and stuff. So it works, but we don't have 9 more years.
Does anyone get excited though? And not fearful? Because all I'm saying is, I was reading in Matthew somewhere where Jesus was like, "Don't fear the person that can harm this. You know, fear the one that can both destroy this and your soul in hell." And all I'm saying is, I'm not scared of what's to come, because what's that saying? It's a worldly saying. It's always darkest before the dawn. Like, that's kind of what we're seeing. Like, it's going to be really dark, you know, like we're going to go through the tribulation, and then we'll have ourselves, like, I don't know, I
found myself excited.
I guess I'm excited for what the ending is.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying, yes, let's go through the tribulation. No, I don't want to, but I'm not scared.
It says, like, it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands
The
of the living
living
God.
God, yeah.
And then I think I said last week at the restaurant about the day of the Lord is a dreadful thing. And so I'm like, well, I don't know if we should be excited.
I guess, no, I'm saying for our hope and our
I
future,
know,
not the wrath
right.
that's going to be poured out on
Yeah.
unbelievers.
Where I'm at on it is, and this is what was really hitting me yesterday as we were walking into these antique stores, and it was like, I would catch, like, that's a loaded item, I can sense it. And, one store wasn't too bad, I only detected like a thing, but I go into another store across the road down the way a little bit, and I'm like, I'm ready to get out of here, and like, family already left, I'm like, okay. So like, but I could just sense more heaviness to it. There's things that are going to attach to these antiques and stuff like that, and then you're seeing witchcraft type stuff. Like they allow it in essence, and a lot of people don't even. It's like a lot of places don't even realize. Yeah, and so then we go into the toy store, and they have a whole section that's all dedicated to magic, and then another section in the back that's dedicated to all the dragons and stuff like that. And I'm like, and again, the woman may not know no better that owns the store. Maybe she does. I don't know, but I'm just troubled by this. And someone thinks, well, you're being legalistic. No, I'm not being legalistic. I just care that much about Jesus that this stuff bothers me. It's not about a legalistic thing. It's, again, then I'm drawn to the Lord, forgive them for they know not what they do. That's the best I can do.
Yeah, but it talks about how many people fall off. Like, even believers who fall off because how many times is reference enduring till the end? Like, that wouldn't be such a big deal if it was such an easy thing to stay in your faith.
Well, I'm gonna go see Mary then.
Tell her we said hi. I've been wondering about her. Thanks for the report.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice to see you.
I wanna get his
Good to
book.
see you too, Chris.
The car that left?
Yeah, definitely give her one, yeah.
Something happened at work.
This come out recently.
Yeah.
That was the last one that came out.